6 Feet Under is an American drama series that first aired in 2001, created by Alan Ball. It concerns the Fisher family, amongst others, and the funeral home they both live and work in, all set in Los Angeles. It discusses many themes, but it wouldn't go amiss to say it covers how we deal with death, and looks at the complexity of relationships and human beings. Full disclosure, this is my favourite thing ever, and if you haven't watched it, I strongly urge you to stop watching this video and take a look.
It's no accident you guys are undertakers. You take every fucking feeling you have, put it in a box and bury it.
Whilst sold as a show about death, Alan Ball suggested it's actually a show about life in the face of death. Opening with the untimely death of patriarch Nathaniel Sr., the show never looked back, and each week an opening death became a barometer from which our characters were compared. Whether it be how your secrets deeply affected others, or how your flaws got in the way of your greatness, the weekly ritual of the opening death gave us all a cruel reminder that one day it will be our turn, and that's just the way it is.
Some of us live to be 100, some of us never make it through our first day. That's just a fucking fact of nature, pal.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
You can punch as many people as you want. It's not going to change the fact that boy is dead. And your chance to be in his life is over.
The Fisher family don't question death quite so much. It surrounds them. But it does give them an increased curiosity on life. Like all of us, these people really want to be understood, yet all of them are determined to hold on to a sense of themselves. How can they live life to fulfill what they want to do, though their actions may stunt the people around them? How do they show strength without being intolerable? We now have 3 people without a father and 1 woman without a husband. And before long, Nate himself has a brush with death with his AVM diagnosis. We lose children, babies, a healthy athlete. It can happen to anyone and everyone. But for now, let's deal with the living and talk about how entirely flawed we are all capable of being. The Fisher family lied to themselves despite being interested in getting to the truth. The lies come from a place of fear, Nate lying about his fear of death, for example. We look at death as a conclusion to a person's life. It is. Have you ever wandered around gravestones and read them? Perhaps this is a projection, but in death everyone gets looked at more generously and they lose their flaws. Nate remarks to Rico that maybe Emily Previn was just this vicious asshole. We'll never know. We all have our struggles, and we're better for trying to change even the smallest negative parts of ourselves. But then, in the end, of course, we die. But without struggle, without thriving to be better, to leave a mark, what really is the point? And that's what these fascinating characters deal with. After his father's death, David is expected to take over the business. But David constantly struggles to stand up for himself. Early on, it's his sexuality that holds him back, more so the concealment of it from everyone but his lover. And with his father gone, David now has to be the most responsible one, or so he thinks. David believes the more responsibility you have, the more you can pretend you're in control. But beneath it all, David is still a little boy trying to grow up. Nate has an endless search for answers, which makes sense considering his brush with death himself. He's talked to the rabbi, he's read scripture, he's even sought out a psychic. He tried monogamy, he even tried settling down and having a child. But Nate, at heart, likes to run. Life can be pretty intense, and Nate recognizes the static. It's easier just to escape for Nate, whether it be moving your life to Seattle or just hitting the road on a motorcycle. That's where the future is full of possibilities and your problems are behind you. But this lifestyle has clearly left him without a deep connection to anybody.
I don't know why, but it's comforting to know you're just as fucked up as the rest of us.
He even doubts being able to be a funeral director. That just isn't him. But surprise, he finds he has a knack for it. Like all of us, he needs to feel he has a purpose, and for a while there, helping people through the hardest times in their lives was his purpose. Ruth wants to follow the recipe. There is an order to her, and what she sees as doing life right.
Cooking is alchemy, not a science.
It is if you want it to turn out right.
Ruth puts an incredible amount of pressure on herself. Now, after Nathaniel is gone, Ruth's need for intimacy rises. Her kids don't satisfy her that way,
Won't any of you have intimacy with me?
and it spreads to an array of male suitors. But an increased need for intimacy reduces her partner's lack of freedom. She is at heart a carer, a housewife who looked after her family, and even from a young age, having looked after her legless grandmother, she's been caring for people for a very long time. When Emily Previn dies, a lady who died alone choking, Claire suggests that maybe Previn was living the life she wanted.
What kind of a life is that?
Claire is already tired of searching for some meaning in her life. She's the outcast daughter of a family of undertakers. At school, she's weird, mostly because she lives in a funeral home and drives a hearse. So her answer is to prove them right, and steals a foot. She is both conflicted and comforted that she's not like them, her family, her classmates, her co-workers. Like us all, she is flawed, but lessons have to be learned, and especially at high school. She acted as if she was looking for a companion and jumped from strange boy to strange boy via college girl. But Claire was ultimately looking for an experience. Brenda and Claire share something in common. They can't stand what a quote-unquote normal lifestyle entails, or what society expects of them. Brenda just feels bored by it all. She wants remarkable. Brenda speaks clearly. She doesn't want to be understood. She spent her youth being psychoanalyzed, so now she believes she's too intelligent to be understood. But every time Brenda tests the boundaries of her normalcy, she ends up unsettled by their results. Whether it be thoughtless sexual encounters or trying to be something she's not, they just leave her feeling hollow. Life can fall into patterns and be mundane. Brenda gets excited about firsts, that buzz of excitement when something is fresh and new. But a buzz is just a short-term fix. With shrink parents and taking on the failure of her brother's mental condition, Brenda finds it easier to be the bad guy, manipulating her way through life, keeping people at a distance, because to her, that's way better than being analysed. Nathaniel Sr. surrounds the show. He's there even in death, albeit subconsciously for his family. But while Nate Sr. typically offers comforting advice, nearly everyone on the show suffers from another person living rent-free in their head. Whether it be David and his abductor Jake, or Nate after Lisa's death, the characters' inner thoughts are exposed by those that eat away at their anxieties. And these can be long-lasting fears and problems, or fresh new ones impacted by the death that week.
An abomination of nature.
Ruth is still tormented by feeling like she had to look after her grandmother. That completely shaped who she was, easily settling into a mundane life of housewifery as a young adult. And what effect did the death of George's mother have on this young boy? That is long-lasting trauma, and untreated leaves George anxious, overzealous with relationships, and ultimately leads him towards a path of mental illness. We don't need a physical form to see who lives in Brenda's head. There's a book about her.
And now you're gonna read that book and think that you know me.
Her inner monologue has her questioning everything she does because of her over-analytical psychiatry parents and her being literally psychoanalyzed as a child. That's not just one person in your head, that's a lot of them. Likewise, it's Keith who suffers from poor parental influence, having grown up with a harsh and fear-mongering father. This has him questioning whether he could be any decent as a father himself. Like Brenda, his parental figure subconsciously watches over him, making him wonder if he can ever live up to their standard. Nate suffers greatly because he wants to be seen as a great guy, but ultimately he can't be what he thinks everyone wants of him. He disagrees that he's like his father because he loves his family.
Buddy boy, you think I would have stuck around if I didn't love mine?
It's here that Nate understands it's possible to love your family and still be discontent with everything else.
You just want to stay in this to prove what a good guy you can be. Not because you love Lisa.
This isn't just about me, you fucking idiot. There are other lives at stake.
Don't give me that shit. You are so fucking trapped.
So many people live in Nate's head, but for him, it's just too much to bear sometimes. Trauma is a whole different thing, and David has every reason to be scared after the horror of his abduction. Jake exposes David and his weaknesses. He is, after all, not in as much control as he portrays. If David isn't fearing for his safety after Marcus is murdered, he is fearing for a contented future with Keith. Jake took advantage of David's kindness, and though he didn't take his life, he goes on to live in his head, traumatizing him over and over again. But let's remind ourselves that feeling guilty, responsible, and fearful make you human, and that makes you more relatable than you think. The question now is, how are you going to cope? Let's start once more at the beginning. Nathaniel Sr. is taken away from the Fishers, which speedruns them to deal with life more quickly. David has to take over the reins. Ruth is husbandless of a family that leans so much on her. Nate is pressured into staying to help out. And Claire, well, Claire, as the very much youngest child, was always treated as an afterthought, but now she will never have a father figure in her life as she enters adulthood. In fact, it takes a long time for Claire to truly mourn the loss of her father, which comes much later when Ruth decides to marry George. Claire breaks down, going through her final stage of mourning. There are many ways to cope, only a few are helpful. It's numbness that attracts the Fishers. To them, pain must be numbed, it's just too damn painful. Claire runs away like Nate, but not as far as Seattle. For her, it's new experiences like drugs and dropout boys, which are purely distractions from her problems. David numbs himself by trying the opposite of what didn't work. Don't like the danger thrill of whatever his relationship with Keith was becoming, he's straight into the arms of a safe boy, his friend Patrick. Can't handle an adult relationship just yet? He's on to a young stud, taking pills in a nightclub.
Can't we just have sex? It doesn't have to mean anything.
You might think David hadn't numbed himself enough, but he truly hits bottom when in Vegas, well, he meets this guy. And then the boys in blue arrive. Now you feel a new pain. Nate might be the most egregious example. It used to be that for Nate, your problems can go away by simply being cool about it. But after the death of Lisa, Nate is in the worst state of his life, guilty, mourning, and in serious pain. Casual sex comes easy for Nate, but there's something so profoundly sad about him going back to this random woman's apartment and her kicking her kid off the couch to have sex. But it's Nate's pain that is in control.
So what, is Nate like a total alkie now? I mean, should we do something?
It's just numbing the pain. He has to.
We all find it hard to live with any pain, and it's natural to numb it, even if numbing it is truly just a short-term fix. Now let's not forget Sarah, who on the surface looks like she figured it all out.
The only man I ever loved died when I was 21. The children I so desperately wanted were impossible because my ovaries are dry as stone. And I'm a terrible artist. But I surround myself with people who have talent that I will never realize. It's all hard, Ruth. We just made different choices.
Sarah is honest with herself. Those are some shitty circumstances to deal with. so it's completely understandable that she wanted to build the most peaceful and fun life she could. That's her distraction from what happened to her.
You hang on to your pain like it means something, like it's worth something. Well, let me tell you, it's not worth shit. Let it go.
These characters try to escape the realities of their lives, but they always have to deal with them. These moments are so painful, so real, and we ultimately end up hurting ourselves before we learn to deal with that reality. Your wife is dead. You weren't a great partner. You failed. You let people down. It's not a coincidence that they try to elude reality like they do. So what is the answer? Ruth's the plan? The Quakers? Or is it some form of acceptance and finding the ability to grow? Be kind, hug people you love, and maybe find a sense of purpose. Do you want to be understood? Do you know who you are yet? You have to question if it even matters. You are something to one person and something else to another. The struggle to be understood is real. Displaying your identity to the world is trying, especially when you're in college. Claire becomes an artist and lists her photograph as $75. At the end of the night, it isn't sold, not because it wasn't good or worth the money, but because it wasn't expensive enough. These art collectors are just pretenders and can't have $75 artwork on their walls at home. Like many of us, the facade of who they want to be seen as is overriding their actual personality. Claire is now in a world where being herself, a person too shy to put $75 on the piece, is holding her back amongst her peers. Ruth is Ruth 2.0, a post-Nathaniel Ruth, a guilt-ridden I cheated Ruth. But with no kids to raise and no husband to take care of, she's a blank slate. Is this Ruth being herself? It's as if she's finally out of her cage, bouncing around men, looking for answers from a self-help community and even gambling.
I kept betting more and more and losing more and more.
You should have been more careful.
I don't want to be careful. I want to feel alive.
It's like Ruth never got the chance to be reckless before, and being Ruth 2.0 might just in fact get her on the path to being understood. After all, Ruth craves intimacy, and Ruth 1.0 was struggling to get any. Brenda shows up an hour early for dinner at the Fisher house. I suppose nobody should be prepared for her, and that's the way she'd want it. Brenda's issues are strangely similar to Ruth's, in that there was a metaphorical cage keeping her as a specific entity, but Brenda broke free and gambled metaphorically a long time ago. She doesn't want her shrink parents or her psycho brother to define her, but because of her recklessness, they kind of do. Forget trying to understand her, there's a book, and she will fight you if you believe that it tells you who she is. No one is a book, we are nuanced. Brenda is herself, of course, but a product of a microscopic upbringing. Remember the gravestones. Who were these people? Nate fears being just another gravestone. At first he failed the funeral director's exam, perhaps because Nate didn't really want to be a man who's great at being a stuffy funeral director. But while Nate is pretty great at helping people grieve, he adds a much needed human element to Fisher and Sons. In these moments, Nate is truly being himself. Nate wants to be seen as a great guy, but feeling trapped in a cage might as well be a death sentence. The funeral home was a cage to him, one where his parents and siblings lived, and where they were all surrounded by death. This was something to escape from. Recall Nathaniel Sr.'s mysterious room, where it was just something for himself. Even if it isn't a physical place, we all need something for ourselves, free of any attached obligations. Nate dealt with the trap of the funeral home well, acknowledging that it came with a great purpose for him. The next traps were Brenda, a relationship that brought upon a mountain of lies, and Lisa, a relationship of convenience and not one of true love. Nate felt like he couldn't leave his wife and kid, because then he wouldn't be this great guy he wants the world to see him as, so he suffers. Nate on occasion fights his neglect of commitment, like the time he makes a promise to Aaron that he'll visit him until his death, which he does. But of course Nate can make this type of commitment. It is one with a definite end in sight.
It's okay.
These characters are afraid they are broken, and because they think that way, it consumes how much themselves they are, and leaves them feeling less understood.
Are we even moving?
Must be an accident.
As David and Keith get stuck in traffic, the reality sinks in once more. They are back in a place that is going nowhere.
Nate? Nate?
I miss you.
Nate? Nate?
Lisa, I'm losing you.
Lisa doesn't hear him. He is losing her. Relationships can make you feel loved and safe, but when things get familiar, sometimes we can be too much, and that breeds resentment. A relationship can chip away at your individuality and slowly break you. When things end, there is growth, a new chapter. In death, well, who the hell knows? Maybe it's just the end.
Life is a series of accidents.
Dealing with death is incredibly difficult. Dealing with life is equally hard, but does it have to be? The finale of season 1 ends with a christening, which occurs just moments after a wake has concluded. In a location crucial to celebrating endings, it's here that it celebrates the beginning. A stark reminder that at just this moment someone has died and someone was born. And like Nate, it's important to breathe in the life that surrounds you. These moments are there, but you have to look for them and appreciate them. The season 5 finale could get its own video. It's regarded as one of the greatest finales of all time. I suppose it's time to take that road. First, I'd like to tell you my experience. Obviously, I was a wreck like most that watched it, but the following day I was just walking around, seeing people as they passed by, and imagining what their dates were, just like how the show defines it: birth and death. It was a particularly moving day, one of great presentness, of knowledge that we all have this set time to exist. It helped to remind me how utterly flawed we all are, and if we work on that, it's admirable, and we should never give up, even at our lowest moments. It's easy to hate someone because they wronged you, but look closer and you'll hopefully see humanity in there. They too have people who live rent-free in their head, and they too have wild ways of coping with their problems. And like that, we lose Nate.
He struggled all through his life to be a good man. He wasn't perfect. But then who among us is? And he never gave up on himself, the people he loved, or even love itself in all its vexing, beautiful forms.
And then we lose everybody else. It's inevitable. It hurts, it sucks, but it's inevitable. The last shot is Claire Fisher in 2085, seeing something with blind eyes. What breaks me is that when Claire is 102 years old, everyone dies all over again. Memories of the Fishers long past, in a future where we continue to make similar mistakes, hopefully growing, before dying in messy and tragic ways? How much of our lives can we say we're responsible for? How much is beyond our control? It can be hard to find meaning in life when we live in a world that has cruelty, corruption, and a sense of unfairness. But the world, like everyone in it, has its flaws, and it's important to strive to be better than to give up. One day we will breathe our last breath, but life will go on. Thank you.